everyone, and welcome to both the Second Magnetic Laboratory and my quarantine haircut. I'm Abby Almond, Technical Director for the Magnetic Theater and your host for the evening. Go ahead and take your moment to applaud. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, tonight you'll see a mix of music and monologue, all original pieces, by our Magnetic family. Here at the Magnetic, we do our best to promote art that, much like my haircut, is innovative, bold, and risky. In these rowdy, scary, and you know what, awesome times, we're so glad that we can come together as friends and artists. Congratulations to you all for living through a historic turning point. Use this time well. Now let's get goofy. We'll start off with the Canadian Underground News, brought to you by Jason Phillips.
I do remember Canada, oh Canada.
Oh hey, it's Gordy. For those of you just tuning in, this is the Underground Canadian News Network. You can find me on YouTube. As we like to say here in my mother-in-law's basement, welcome, g'day, hope you are doing good. I just wanted to remind you that this news program is supposed to be for positive news. It's a rough time out there, and if you watch the American news, man, it's bad. It's rough. It's terrible. So I'm here to help with that. I'm going to start off with a real news story today, which is unusual for me, and I'm going to mention the giant orange thing in the big White House. I tried to stay away from that, but he said something reminded me of home. Okay, he said, I tested very positively towards negative. I tested perfectly this morning. Now, you know who that reminds me of? My Aunt Bubbles. Yeah, that's right. Bubbles, whose real name is Hilda. Hey, Auntie Hilda, how you doing? She is always positively negative. Last time I went home, she was like, Gord, you look good. Like, she says positive things, and makes that face, eh? And then, she says to me, you still got that job? You still got that job there in the States? I'm like, yeah. Auntie Bubbles, I still have that job. She's like, so glad you still have that job. It's amazing how far a 12th grade education can get you. You only finished a grade 12, didn't you? You didn't go on to college, not even community. Yeah, that's right. So she says something nice, and then she says something negative, which to me is exactly what happened with the big orange thing in the White House, where he said he tested positively, where I was hopeful, and then he was like towards a negative, which kind of dropped my hopes a little bit. Anyway, this is really supposed to be about positive news and not about me Aunt Bubbles or about the orange thing in the White House. So just thought I'd see. So yeah, it was so nice. I was working the drive-through line at the Starbucks, and of course, you know, it's dangerous to be an immigrant these days, so I'm very careful now. And I was working the drive-through line, and this woman comes up, and I'm always like, "Hi, welcome to Starbucks. How may I help you?" And she was like, "Well, I'll have my triple half-calf decaf." I don't know, there's so many words. I wrote it all down. Her name is Karen. Anyway, Karen surprised me this morning because it's a holiday, and she went, "Here you go. Keep change." I was like, "Oh, but ma'am, it's like $10. And of course, I didn't say it in my normal voice. I was like, "Ma'am, that's a lot of money. I really appreciate that." And so she's like, "Oh, you keep it. You're essential to me." I'm essential to her. Anyway, it was real nice. It was good to get a $10 tip on the fanciest coffee I've ever made in my life. So that was good news. So that's some good news from Gord's house. Let's see what else. Oh, I was walking the dog, and I saw a bear. Oh man, it reminded me of home. So I thought, oh, I'll look up the news from home. Two things happened. Two amazing things. One, where I'm from, no new cases of that thing that they keep talking about. So that's great. Like, this is the only time in all of Canada that anybody's ever wanted to live in New Brunswick. Right now. This is it. Believe me, I left. And then, second thing, I saw the bear, got reminded of my hometown, and I thought, oh, I haven't seen a bear in a long time. We got two instincts here. One is to run up and give it a hug and tell you, hey, miss home, wish you were a moose. And then, of course, the other thing is for me to run up and just punch it in the face, like he's a ref at a hockey game. So those are the good things that are happening. My neighbors, they keep their lawns real trimmed and creep. So that's the good news. So thanks for tuning in to Underground Canadian News Network. And we'll be back with you real soon with another YouTube update. Also, please don't tell anybody I'm actually not an American. I'll totally deny it, right? Because I've got a good American accent going.
Hi, it's me, Abby Almond. Thanks, Jason. Did you know that here in America, it is our God-given right to hug bears? It's called the right to bear arms, and we don't use it enough. This just in. Remember to wear your mask when going to protests. It protects both your identity and your health. Coming up next, Princess Cratilda, brought to you by Barbie Angel. Again, this is Abby Almond.
Hi, children. My name is Princess Cratilda. Today we're going to talk about anti-disestablishmentarianism. Can you say anti-disestablishmentarianism? I don't care. And I mean that. In fact, we're not even talking about anti-disestablishmentarianism today. I just said that so you would know how smart I am. And by that, I mean how much smarter I am than you are. And yes, I know that sentence ended with a dangling something or a hanging chad or whatever, but I don't care about that either. I'm still smarter than anyone else here. I'm smarter and prettier and princessier, and you are all in awe of my princessiery smartness, and I can do or say whatever I want. Besides, when you're smart, you get to make up your own rules about sentences and wording and putting the words together in the way and Hi children, today we're going to talk about narcissistic personality disorder. Can you say narcissistic personality disorder? Really, you fell for that again? I really am the smartest person here, aren't I? I'm the only person here. It's okay though, not everyone can be smart and pretty and princessy like me, but that doesn't mean you aren't very important, because you are. Aside from me, you are the most important people here. Well, and if there were people here that were running lights and sound, then you'd be right below them. But they're not here because this is just me and in my castle But anyway, I couldn't be the smartest and prettiest and princessiest without all of you to admire me. And you admire me, right? Of course you do. Okay, so, what were we talking about? Oh, right. Narcissistic personality disorder is very rare. And while it may sound scary or confusing, it's actually just another way to describe people who are, to use a clinical phrase, all that and a bag of chips. Narcissists have a very tough time being accepted for who they are because they are always the smartest, prettiest, and most interesting person in any room. They often have jobs that will put them in front of large audiences because it's important for less smart, less pretty, less interesting people to have someone to look up to. For whom to look up. For which to look up. to whom to. I hate stupid dangling things and all their stupid words going in a certain place with all they're making me look like less smart when I know that I'm the smartest and the prettiest and the princessiest, and the stupid dangling things are the ones that are the stupidest and they're stupiderest and they're just dangling and they're just not in a good way and that's all for now, kids. Be sure to come back next time when we'll talk about why all your pink parts tingle whenever you see me. Bye.
Thanks, Barbie. I am the prettiest, smartest princess in this room, in which I am alone. This just in. Make sure you're wearing clothes that hide any tattoos or defining features when you protest. And stay hydrated. It's a hot one out there today, folks. Coming up next, it's Pokemon Story by George Hurd.
Stay-at-home and shelter-in-place orders are particularly difficult for single people living alone with no pets. I have taken to replacing human contact with my magical Pokemon. Let me introduce you to my world of Pokemon Stay Home. I have found that Pokemon are better than human or animal companions. They love you without judgment, and I love you too, Zweilius. In the morning, I enjoy a cup of coffee on the deck with Diglett. 2 sugars again, Diglett? You will put on the quarantine 20. Pikachu is really good at video games and regularly kicks my ass in Fortnite. Can you let me win just once, Pikachu? Abra can solve the New York Times crossword puzzle in under 5 minutes. All green squares means it's totally correct. Well done, Abra. My Pokemon are keeping me sane. Here, Primeape is blocking my view of the President's coronavirus daily briefing. Thanks, Primate. I didn't need to see that. Bulbasaur loves long games of Cards Against Humanity. Really, Bulbasaur? How do you keep getting all the Michael Jackson cards? And at the times when you are most vulnerable and needy. Really, Slackoth? Are you sure we could go all the way? Pokemon are better than pets. They don't make a mess, and they are easy to house train. Aren't they, Herdia? What's wrong, boy? What's wrong? Oh, there's no toilet paper? Why could that be? Snorunt, did you take all the toilet paper? That's not very nice. Give it back to me. Come on, Snorunt, give it back. Stop hoarding the toilet paper. Evie, that's the last bottle of hand sanitizer. What are you doing? Now, Meltan, that is too much. You're making signs for an anti-quarantine protest march? Why do you want a haircut? You don't even have hair. I thought we were all in this together, right, Pokemon? Pokemon? The Pokemon have turned against me. I thought they were all in with the shelter at home, but now I know it's time to teach them a lesson. They've cleared out the place, hoarded the supplies, and even torn up my best mask. It's time for revenge. Time for a clam bake! A clampel bake! Get in the oven at 350 degrees, you selfish shellfish! Pichu, I choose you to be soup. Oh, Persian, Kitty doesn't like being in the shower. How about we turn the water on? It had to be done. I couldn't let the Pokemon undo the good work that we've done in flattening the curve. But it's okay. They've all gone now. I'm going to miss them, but I had to do it. I had to get rid of all the Pokemon. No! Tyranitar! No!
Hello, folks. Abby Almond here again. Thank you, and rest in peace, George Hurd. This just in. Be sure to listen to Black leadership when you protest, and don't go off on any shenanigans on your own. It's not your time. Coming up next, it's Mike Yao reading an excerpt from the lore from his role-playing game, Savage Kingdoms.
Hello, my name is Mike Yao, a local to Asheville actor. But today I will be doing a dramatic reading of some of my writing. So I also am a game designer and author. Savage Kingdoms tabletop role-playing game, which also has a world that I've built to set the games and adventures and that sort of thing in. So I'm going to read something from the last book that I published a couple of years ago. All right, see what happens. In the beginning, the world was filled with gods, deathless beings that mortal races would soon come to worship. These deities knew their power, knew their worth. Proud and wrathful, they fought with one another, battled for control and dominance over the earth world. Eons these wars went on, all but the blink of an eye to the gods, and in the fighting and primal chaos there arose the great mountains and deep valleys of the world. The sea rushed in to fill the footprints of these mighty immortals, creating lakes and rivers and treacherous marshland. The forests were the fertile offspring of the gods, the trees, the very children of the deities of earth and plough and harvest. The great trees could speak then in those mystical days, and they were charged with the care of the lesser greenery, the plants, roots, and herbs of the world. Over millennia, some of the gods grew restless, while others grew complacent. What was once relative harmony, after most of the wars had been fought and settled, was now decadence and sloth. A few gods rose above it all, rallied forth, but most of them went about their separate paths, soon to live on Earthworld in places like Rodan, while others left the mortal realm entirely and sought domains in other worlds. Art and culture grew, and with it came the challenge to press onward toward an unseen destiny, a fate humankind would not wrestle with for many eons to come. And with invention came also perversion, as with creation which begot destruction. Some gods created assistants, beings that would serve them dutifully and without question, and these beings would later become known to men as demons. The good demons, however, became angels, and their charge would be to oppose their darker fallen brethren whenever they moved against humankind or the true, well-meaning gods. And other creatures still, some wicked and some holy, some as the Gorgons, Oni, and other fell spirits that sometimes moved among the carnal world. As with all things, this age would soon come to pass, as the gods withdrew more and more from their material creation, the earth world, and so too would the demons and Gorgons and other retreats to the shadowy places of the world and its many places beyond. But before all of godkind could leave the mortal stage entirely, there came upon the world a time and era at which even the age of the gods would quake and marvel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I'd play. Fighting demons in my off time seems like great practice. And remember, folks, this is Abby Almond. And this just in, if you get hit by tear gas or pepper spray, stay calm and get to higher ground. Then rinse out your eyes with a 1-to-1 mixture of water and unflavored liquid antacid, not milk. But remember, it needs to be lots and lots of water. Coming up next, it's Katie Jones with Reinvention.
Martha Monday was my great-grandmother. It sounds strange to say, but she's been on my mind a lot lately. My father has recently taken a deep dive into the pool of Ancestry.com, and this proved to be beneficial because a great thing to do during quarantine is wander around cemeteries looking for old graves. After all, everyone else there is dead. After searching a couple different churches and following misremembered directions from a cousin once removed, we finally found her. When Martha was growing up in the mountains of western North Carolina, she didn't fit in. Not only did she not fit in, she was considered strange and wild. Even her own parents never understood her, and when she found herself at 19 with no place to live, she did the most reasonable thing she could think of. She ran away with the circus. She traveled the country with exotic animals, dwarfs, contortionists, and freaks, and found that she was right at home. Martha was a tightrope walker, which suited her, because all her life had felt like a balancing act, trying to please this person or that, or to be what some people would call normal. One of the stagehands on the circus was James Marion Jones, my would-be great-grandfather. Martha liked him. He was quiet but strong, and he had an idea to go back to North Carolina and start a farm. Even though she loved the circus, she could feel that this next adventure would be worth it. They had 4 children, and their lives were filled with love like mad and the joy of a hard day's work and music with their children in the evenings. And then, of course, as happened to many young wives at that time, the First World War came and took James with it. Martha was devastated, but she knew she could not afford to sit in sorrow long. The world wasn't kind to widows, and she knew she couldn't run the farm on her own. She'd been writing to a friend in Greenville, who told her that business there was good. So Martha loaded her 4 children into a beat-up red wagon, and she walked and walked and walked, until she finally made it to Greenville, where she started a boarding house. The boarding house was a lot like the circus, in that people from all walks of life managed to make their way there. Everybody had a story, and everybody needed a place to call home, even if just for a little while. Martha became Aunt Martha to all the boarders and treated everyone who stayed there as her kin. One afternoon, she saw one of her boarders, Hicks Prince, playing ball with her children in the yard. He was not particularly handsome, but he was kind and witty, and she knew that he could be the father her children were missing. Together, they saw her children into adulthood, into marriages, into their own adventures. Her oldest daughter, Clara Belle, the beauty of the family, found herself in a marriage that was bad. She often came to the boarding house, covered in bruises, or looking for her husband who had gone out carousing. Clara Belle had tried to leave many a time, but her husband threatened murder. Martha made a decision. Hicks borrowed a horse from a friend and rode Clara Belle down to his sister's house in Georgia. There she disappeared, and Martha never saw her again. But she knew that her daughter was free. I happen to know that Clara Belle married again and has scores of descendants, and I like to think that she was happy. Her son, Jesse, was a big boy with a soft demeanor. He married a headstrong woman who Martha didn't much like. Sarah had her own way of doing things, and just about nobody could talk any sense into her. But when Jesse died, a heart attack took him, leaving Sarah a widow with 4 children, and Martha found herself with money to leave behind. She gave everything to Sarah, because she knew what it was like to have to reinvent yourself over and over when the world didn't work in your favor. Sarah started her own business too, and built houses all over the South. And as I walk through the cemetery and think about the woman whose remains lay at my feet, I think what a great legacy she's left me without knowing, just by being herself. And while the world is on fire, and fears are manifested bigger than any of us could have imagined, I find myself feeling small and helpless, as I'm sure many of us do. And I think it's time for a reinvention.
Thanks, Katie. My grandmother told me on her deathbed that I look dumb in glasses. I look great in glasses, which is what I told her as I stood triumphant over her grave. This just in. Remember to educate yourself before you go to the protest. Don't show up and ask your fellow protesters to explain the finer points of the movement. They're very busy. Next up, it's David Yates with The Theater Critic.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Ah, lovely. Hello? Oh, okay. I'm just gonna go right into it, I guess. Okay. No. When I said that, when I said don't get your knickers in a twist, I wasn't insinuating that you had a vagina. I was saying that if you had one, this problem would have been resolved a long time ago and probably never would have been an issue. Nothing. What's the problem? Okay. Yes. No, but listen. You don't use a play to tell whatever story and carry whatever message you wish. You let the play tell its own story. You don't apply themes. You can't produce Streetcar and then tell me that play is about... No. I'm not saying those issues aren't important. I'm saying those issues are important enough and deserving of their own story. Hello? Look. The problem. The core human problem is a tree trunk. And because of the sheer amount of us now and the advancements in communications technology, the tree has blossomed. And there are twigs and branches and leaves, and each one of them represents a new issue. And there are so many of them now. They've always been there. We can just talk about it freely. And we're more accessible to each other, but we've lost sight of the core problem, the trunk. And every time you try to draw one person's attention or a group of people's attention to this one leaf that you've deemed worthy of exploitation, spring has come and gone. This leaf is dead and there's so many other leaves. Do you understand? Hello? Yes, I said it was exploitation. Are you trying to tell me that art nowadays is not a form of capitalism or exploitation? Well, then we're in much more trouble than I thought. Look what happened recently in Ireland. The anniversary of 1916 Rising, the 100-year anniversary. Did you not find it a little bit disrespectful that almost every theatre did some kind of production related to that? Is that not exploiting the lives of those who died fighting for independence? Yes, I know it's not exactly capitalism, but it's not exactly not capitalism. Hello? Fuck's sake. Let me ask you this. How many American artists now are making money using Trump as their source? My point was that we have forgotten the core issue. We're too distracted. Hello? Let me ask you an honest question. When was the last time you went to the theatre because you wanted to go? Not to support anyone, not to not to see someone make up balls of the role of you made great years ago. For absolutely no agenda. When was the last time you went because you love it? When was the last time you went to see a show just for the sake of seeing the show, not because of what it was about, not because of its content, just because you wanted to be there? When was the last time you sat down with a stranger after the show and discussed what it might have been about or what it meant to you? Just... It seems like the only people that go nowadays are theater students and people that are already in the industry. You know, they're supporting one another, and it's a beautiful thing. But we're not doing this for ourselves. So, think about that and get back to me, and you can critique my critique.
Wow. Thanks, David, for reading me, Abby Almond, to filth. Cool. This just in. Remember that you don't have to protest to help the movement. You can also help by signing petitions, calling your congressman, and donating. In fact, you are helping now. All proceeds from this event are going to Black Visions Collective. Please visit their website for more information. Well, everyone, we are just about done. Let's wrap things up with a song from my friend and yours, Tom Godolewski.
Hey, y'all. How's it going? Hope everyone's doing well during this whole pandemic thing. And anyway, I'm going to do a little song that I wrote for the show, The Sparrow and the Whippoorwill, that was due to open in August at the Magnetic Theater. And unfortunately, we got postponed until next year, but it's okay. It's understandable. And hopefully we'll get back to normal one of these days. In the show, there's a custodian, a janitor, who's a really down-to-earth, nice guy. And his name is Merrill. And I named him, actually, for a guy that my wife went to school with named Gary Merrill. That's his last name. And Gary Merrill is one of the nicest people you ever meet in your life. So I just thought that was really cool to kind of give him... I kind of like the name Merrill. And so I wanted to write a song for him, and have a friend who's a housekeeping supervisor at UNCA, and I called her and I said, what do y'all call your custodians? And she said, oh, we call them Building Environmental Services Technicians. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool name there. But so it just kind of got me thinking about this song and what I was going to do with this song. So anyway, here's what I come up with, and I'm going to try to play the harmonica and the guitar at the same time. And anyway, I'll tell you right now, you know what pain is? Pain is getting a mustache hair caught in a harmonica. That's pretty bad there. It hurts really bad. But anyway, oh, and by the way, hello, Daphne. Love you, Daphne. Miss you. Okay, here we go. Well, I was just a lonely janitor when I started out, and then I became a custodian, a refuge engineer, and a sanitary specialist. With every new title I stuck out my chest, I sure was proud, but that ain't nothing compared to what I'm called now. 'Cause I'm a building environmental services technician, a BEST, the best. Well, it's a funny thing, but the pay's all the same, not 1 cent more for taking out the trash and cleaning the toilets and mopping the floors. I come in here, work real hard, give me that fancy title, man, give me more pay. I gotta go Johnny Mop after my first year for all my hard work and dedication. I do my best to keep this place clean, waxing the floor, cleaning the blinds, washing windows too. There ain't much around here that I won't do. You'd think a man of my title would make more dough, but every time I'm inquired, it's no, no, no. I come in here, work real hard, day after day. If you give me that fancy title, man, give me more pay. 'Cause I'm a building environmental services technician. A BEST, the best. Well, it's a fancy name, but the pay's all the same. Not 1 cent more for taking out the trash, cleaning the toilets, and mopping the floors. I come in here, work real hard, day after day. If you give me that fancy title, man, give me more pay. All right, y'all take care. Bye-bye.
That's all for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been your host, Abby Alman. Stay safe out there. Bye.